I'm alive. Welcome everyone to another episode of FPL Focal. Hope you're all well. It's Game Week 31. It's episode 29. How are we all doing? We've almost caught up with the episode numbers and the Game Week numbers. Decided to reformat the streams a little bit and do them as episode numbers. I think that works a little bit better. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Hope everyone's doing well. It's Friday night deadline tonight. My wildcard is activated. So this is my draft that you see on screen right now. I'm very keen to hear what you all have to say about my draft, because it's been a long old week after activating the wildcard and deciding on what draft to actually settle on. But this is how the team has ended up. So yeah, welcome to the stream everyone. We're just under an hour from the deadline. Adam, Aiden, El Padrino, Jano, Ollie, Sponshy, thank you all for being here. Yeah, you're dead right, Adam. The timer wasn't counting down on the intro, and then I realised a couple of minutes in and just fast forwarded it to about where it should have been. Every bloody stream there's a technical issue, and this stream hasn't disappointed either. We've got loads to get through on this one. I was scrambling to get together the guess that players, which I know Ollie wanted on this stream, and I just about did it in the 15 minutes leading up to going live. I have just also realised the chat isn't on the live stream. It's so bad. I don't know how I manage this every time. I mean, there's a lot I have to remember each time, but I should by now be getting it right. There we go. The chat is there. How are we all doing? Who's the armband on for Game Week 31? If you haven't voted on the captain poll yet, don't forget to do that on our Discord. Link to the Discord in the description. Get your votes in. I'm keen to see who everyone's got the armband on. Dyer says no City players. Yeah, so no City players is obviously one of the standouts from this wildcard draft. And the reason being is because they've got so many fixtures and so many competitions. In fact, I think I saw Ben Crellin say that if they progress in the competitions they're still in, then they will have played on the weekend and midweek for the entire season. So, absolute madness. And as a result, I think it's going to be impossible to predict which players play. Sorry, I'm just pouring a glass of Coke Zero. Not sponsored by Coke. Yeah, so no City players. Obviously, they've got the blank in 33, so that's in my thinking. But also the rotations in my thinking as well. Sterling was actually on one of my drafts. I had Sterling here instead of Bruno. And the idea being I would have Sterling for the Leeds game in 32. Really good fixture. And then I'd move Sterling to Bruno in... I'd have Sterling for 31 and then move him to Bruno in 32 when Bruno has Burnley, followed by Leeds in 33. But I'm not a massive fan of booking in transfers. It's something I used to do, and I don't know if it's the best strategy because you can never account for what can go wrong in your team. And on top of that, I've got my bench boost. So the plan with this draft is to bench boost in 32. So I've tried to set myself up for that as well. Prasir, how we doing, mate? Wood captain Spawn, she says. You know what? Wood's the man in form. He's got 3 goals in his last 3 games and an assist. So I can see the logic, but Vidra's been playing as well, and he's only 4.8. So Vidra's a decent option for Burnley as well. Yeah, I'm on the wildcard, Ronick. This is the draft. I've got about 0.4 left in the bank, so a little bit of wiggle room if I need it. Plan is to bench boost in 32, and I've got the free hit as well. So I'm potentially going to free hit in 35 or 36, depending on what happens later in the season. Anyway, let's crack on with the news roundup. Here is the news building up to this game week, starting with West Ham. So the Guardian were reporting Antonio could miss the rest of the season in a setback for West Ham. Obviously, he went off injured in the first half against Wolves in Game Week 30. So he'll be a big miss for them if he is actually out for as long as the end of the season, potentially. Moyes was obviously asked about Antonio in his conference, and he said, we've had a couple of injuries, and I don't think Antonio is going to make this game. But apart from that, I don't think we're too bad. So, I mean, it sounds a bit more positive. The comments from Moyes saying, I don't think he's going to make this game. It kind of implies that he will make a game in the near future. So we'll have to monitor that. But it's a shame that he's out injured because he was in one of my earlier wildcard drafts and now isn't. Another player, Luke Shaw, potential injury, not totally clear, but he went off at half-time last night in the Europa League. Solskjaer said I had to protect Luke, but I think and I hope he should be okay for the weekend. While Shaw played that one half last night, he actually picked up a yellow card as well. So that means he will miss the second leg of the Europa League as well, which is good news for anyone that's got Luke Shaw or considering him. More injury news. So Dean Smith on Jack Grealish, he said, myself and Jack were quite optimistic to get him back sooner than he probably should. And he's had a setback that will probably put him back a couple of weeks. So I don't know what you guys think, whether this was always the case and Dean Smith's being coy, or whether Grealish, actually is out injured or has had a setback. But yeah, another couple of weeks for Grealish, annoyingly. As a Watkins owner on my wildcard draft, hopefully he'll be back for the West Brom game in 33, I think it is. Very good fixture. A player returning from injury is Callum Wilson, the forgotten man. Steve Bruce said Wilson and St Maximin have trained all week, and that's good news for us. They're available. Callum's trained well, he looks well, he's confident in himself, so let's hope he stays well. Good to see Wilson back. He was a very strong option for some parts of this season. So, yeah, it's good to have Wilson back. St Maximin as well. St Maximin's been a disappointment, hasn't he? I think he was 5.5 at the start of the season, and he was in quite a lot of teams. He was in a few of my drafts, actually, back in Gameweek 1. But, yeah, he's not really been the player we hoped he would be this season. Obviously, he got COVID, so that's set him back somewhat. And it's been a bit of a write-off season for St Maximin. Another player who might have a write-off season is Lascelles. Lascelles could miss the remainder of the season. The disappointing thing is we've lost Lascelles with a foot injury, which happened last week. It's not looking so good at the moment. He's going to have more scans, but we think it might be a stress fracture. Very unfortunate for Newcastle. They desperately need him in their fight to stay up from being relegated. But Lascelles, yeah, looks like he could be out for a while. And Newcastle looking thin at the back. Arsenal news. Arteta says he thinks Ødegaard will miss the next game or two. Obviously, he wasn't in the Europa League squad last night. One player he was Smith Rowe, back from injury. He played about 80 minutes before getting subbed off. So good to have Smith Rowe back, and only 4.2 mil. He's got 5 assists this season, so he's in my wildcard draft. Good to have Smith Rowe back. Very good enabler on the bench. Doesn't get much better. And has Pep given Diaz the kiss of death here? Pep praises Diaz. Still, you have 2 months before the end of the season, but he's been so important for the continuity and leadership and for the quality when he has played. There's a bit of a running joke that when Pep gives a player a lot of praise, they end up getting benched the following game week, or that game week coming. And yeah, he's sung a lot of praise for Diaz here, so I wonder if Diaz misses out this weekend. They've obviously got Ake, Stones, Garcia, all capable of playing centre-back. Laporte as well. So there's 4 other options in addition to Diaz. So I do wonder if Diaz misses out against Leeds this weekend. Anyway, that is the news roundup. Hope you're all doing well. What did I get to with the chat? Janice says, really rate the team in general. Masuaku is a strong pick. Not too sure about the 0 City assets. Yeah, no City could come back to bite me. I do think they'll do well against Leeds. It's just difficult to call who plays, who plays against them tomorrow morning for that game. Suja, how we doing, mate? Kwaku, how we doing? Jally says, time is stuck, chat not on the screen, cola glass unfilled. Extensive preparations, I know. Absolute disaster. Knew I'd get something wrong. I forgot to do the Who's That Player as well, and realised about 15 minutes before going live. Booted up Photoshop, and don't worry, that has made it in, so that's going to be part of this loaded stream. Loads to get through. Jesmar says, what's your thoughts on Maddison? Maddison, I think, is a really strong pick. I think it's a game week too early to be getting Maddison. But I do like Maddison as an option for the remainder of the season. Leicester have obviously got very good fixtures. You can see here below Iheanacho. 32, they got West Brom home, and then 33, Palace at home, then they got Southampton away, and then they got Newcastle at home. So definitely, I think 32 could be a good week to jump on Maddison. I think West Ham might be a game week too early. I think Rogers actually had some comments about Maddison saying he's still building up his fitness after returning from injury. But definitely a good option. He was in a couple of my wildcard drafts. But in a nutshell, I think it's a game week too early. Ollie says I'm getting Maddison next week for Gundo. Yeah, there we go. I think Maddison next week is a very strong option. And you can use this West Ham game, which will be a tough game, to see if Maddison's back to full fitness, back in the starting 11, you know, where he stands right now. A 1 week wait and see. Janice says Pep praised Leeds though, so Leeds to show up with no players this game. Won't surprise me knowing Bielsa. Bielsa, he said something really funny in his conference. He said he was complimenting Pep, you know, calling him a genius, and he was saying, you know, I'm trying to figure out how to counteract Pep's tactics, and he said, I've given up. But yeah, it could be an interesting game. Phillips is ineligible to play because he is on loan from Man City, so that'll be part of the loan, if I'm not mistaken. So Phillips will be out. He'll be a big miss for them. But everyone's jumping on Liverpool. Very good fixture on paper. Aston Villa at home. But do you guys think Liverpool are a trap? Or do you think there's logic in picking up the likes of Jota, Salah? This is their last 7 league home matches. And they've scored 1 goal. 1 goal in their last 7 home matches. You know, are we all out of our mind jumping on Salah, captaining Salah, bringing in Jota, bringing in Trent? Or have they turned a corner and, you know, going to kick on from here? They looked really, really good against Arsenal in the 3-0 win. Against Real Madrid, wasn't a great performance away. They've still got the home game to go, but they lost 3-1 there. But yeah, just a single goal for Liverpool in the last 7 home matches, which is just unbelievable. You never would have thought this at any point this season. In fact, let's have a look at the offensive stats. I'm intrigued to see if Liverpool actually make it. So this is the offensive stats for the last 4 game weeks. And these are the stats per 90 minutes. So Man City are top for goals scored and expected goals scored. Chelsea, interestingly, top for shots on target. 8 shots on target every 90 minutes. And Leicester top among all teams for big chances, with an average of 3.3 per game. It's good to see Tottenham back there. I didn't actually realise you know, how much they've been scoring, but this puts it in perspective. They're second for goals scored and expected goals scored, which is what you want just before the double in 32. So definitely for 32 you want to be going to that double with the likes of Kane and Son. Maybe a third option, but it's difficult to pin down a third Spurs option. At the opposite end of the scale, Sheffield rock bottom in all offensive metrics. They're bottom for goals scored, expected goals scored, shots on target, and big chances. Just 1 shot on target per 90 over the last 4. One shot on target per game. So definitely Sheffield are a team you want to target right now. I think Wolves play them in 32. That could be a good fixture for the likes of Neto. And likewise for their defenders from a defensive perspective, because as you can see, they're taking 1 shot on target per game week at the moment. This graphic is from FPL Updates_tips on Twitter. Good account to follow. Let's have a look at the defensive metrics as well over that same period. So over the last 4, again, this is what we were alluding to. Sheffield are the worst. The goals conceded, expected goals conceded, shots conceded on target, big chances conceded. So Sheffield are absolutely the team to target right now. Just looking at who they've got. So obviously they've got Arsenal in Game Week 31, and then Wolves, as we mentioned. They've got Brighton in 33. And then I'm interested to know what you guys think. Are you going to move Son on for the blank in 33, or are you keeping him? Because in 34, Tottenham play Sheffield, which is obviously an outstanding fixture on paper. But it's very team dependent if you're able to ride out the blank or not. And in terms of the most defensive sides, at the moment, interestingly, over the last 4, Liverpool and United are top for goals conceded. It's just 0.3 goals conceded per 90 over the last 4. So I don't think it's unwise to be looking at the likes of Trent or Phillips. Not sure on Robbo. Trent's been putting up better numbers over the last 4, and I'm not sure if Kabak is worth the extra mil over Phillips. So I think Phillips and Trent are the 2 options in that defence. Caden, how are we doing? He says, do I get Holding or Cody? It depends on the rest of your team, really. Cody's obviously got good fixtures for the next 5. Holding, I think you want to be able to rotate him. Potentially for the Everton game, but if I had to pick one, I would say Holding. He's 0.6 cheaper. Brighton, again, all season they've been putting up good defensive numbers. One of those teams we talked about just now who play Sheffield in the coming game weeks. They are the best in the league for expected goals conceded over the last 4. And Leicester and Chelsea, 2 other sides who have been putting up good numbers over the last 4. And both of them have good fixtures over the next 4. Who do you guys think is going to be getting the golden boot this season? It's going to be interesting to see who gets it, because it's still very close. Salah's only 1 behind Kane. Salah's got arguably the better run of fixtures. Bruno's still not that far away. All he needs is a brace, or he could pick up a hat-trick. He plays Burnley in 32, Leeds in 33. Not out of the question for Bruno to be in the running. I think Kane probably takes it. I think you have to have him for the running, not just for the double, but for the fixtures beyond that we were talking about just now. Dr. Swan says, thoughts on Semedo? Semedo, I'm not convinced by. I think you're better off getting the likes of Cody. Cody's only 4.8, so he's a fair bit cheaper. Completely nailed. Semedo is probably nailed as well, but we have seen other players make the odd appearance. Saiss is 0.1 more than Cody. Another decent option. Historically, he's had a bit more of an attacking threat, but Cody and Saiss have been actually pretty even over the last 6 or so game weeks in terms of attacking numbers. Chat, who have you got the armband on for this game week? For those that didn't catch it, I posted a captain's video earlier this week. So if you missed it, don't forget to subscribe so you can catch my captain's videos. Most of the players we've proposed on the captain's videos in previous game weeks have returned, so definitely subscribe for that, not just these live streams, but subscribe for both. Sponshy says, thoughts on Fofana? Yeah, good question. Fofana's an interesting one. He's been playing quite regularly recently because Soyuncu is out injured at the moment. It's not clear when Soyuncu's going to be back and whether Soyuncu comes straight back into the team. Fofana looks like a safe pick for at least the next 2 or 3 game weeks. Beyond that, it's tough to say, but yeah, I think there's worse punts for 5 mil. Castagna's not a bad option either if you can stretch for the extra whatever he is now, 0.5, 0.6. Joey's got the armband on Salah. Yeah, it's difficult to look past Salah. Despite, as we were saying, they've had 1 goal in the last 7 home fixtures. And Salah scored in 30, but before that, his last goal in the league was in 24. So 1 goal in his last 6 Premier League appearances. So, are we feeling some bias based on, how Salah's done historically? Should we be looking at the data, or do we have faith that he turns a corner from here? Who Who do you guys think is the most transferred in player this game week? Kitty's gone for Fana as well. Adam says captain in my... I should read these before I say them out loud. Almost got me with that one. I was thinking, what player is that? He's got like a double-barreled name, like Oxlade-Chamberlain. Ronnie asks Alonso or Castagna. Or maybe go Alonso to Castagna after this game week. So Alonso played last game week, got the assist. Obviously, Chelsea were down to 10 men quite early because of the Thiago Silva red. Sorry, I thought my dog wanted to join me on stream, but I think he's got a bit of stage fright. I can't play right now, I'm on stream. Sorry, the question was Alonso. Yeah, Alonso got the assist. Obviously, Chelsea lost 5-2 to West Brom because of the red card. And then we saw Chilwell play in the Champions League. So we might see Alonso getting consistent minutes in the league and Chilwell in other competitions. Chelsea obviously still in the Champions League and the FA Cup. So Alonso's not the worst punt. Definitely worse punts than Alonso. And like you say, you can move him on to Castagna. I think that's what I would do. He's got Palace this game week and then he's got Brighton next. So yeah, Alonso's a good punt. Anyway, the question was who's the most transferred in? The answer was, it was indeed Jota. This is a graphic from ffstuff.co.uk, new website I stumbled on this week. They've got some interesting data and graphics. Far and away the most transferred in actually. Over 500,000 managers brought Jota in. Anyone in chat bringing Jota? Monkey Man, how we doing, mate? Yes, I'm on a wildcard. That's my wildcard draft that we saw on screen just now. About my 10th wildcard draft as well, I must add. It's been a long week of drafting and redrafting. Antonio got his injury, so I had to redraft again. But yeah, Jota the most transferred in by some margin. Lingard second. Lingard obviously with 2 goals, 2 assists in his last 2. Very in form, not just over the last 2 to be fair, but going further back as well. Do you guys think Lingard makes the England squad for the Euros? HS Lee, how we doing? Jota for captain. Yeah, Jota's a strong captain option. He was one of those players in the captains video I posted early this week. The top 3 captains in that video were Salah, Jota and Kane. Jota came off the bench against Arsenal last game week, scored twice, and then he played in the Champions League, came off a little bit early before full time, so you would fancy him to start. Liverpool obviously gunning for top 4, really need the top 4 spot, so I would say he's in their best 11. A lot of you got Jota in. Yeah, 500,000 managers. Who else? Iheanacho, another player, very transferred in more form than Vardy. Monkey Man got 0.4 tied up in Cresswell. Are you keeping Cresswell? He says, what do you think about selling Cresswell and getting, for example, Holding in? Holding, he's a good option for this game week, Sheffield. I don't know how I feel about starting him week in and week out. So it's very team dependent. I don't think he's someone you want to start every game week. Let's not forget, Arsenal haven't kept a clean sheet in about 6 or 7 Premier League games. So he's a really good budget enabler, but he's not the sort of player that you want to sell Cresswell for and then start him every week, if that makes sense. So it depends if he enables someone else in your defence. Anyway, can you guys guess who the most transferred out is? And then we'll have a look at the most transferred out players heading into this game week. Afan says he'll be great for England, but who would he replace? Yeah, that's the question. Who loses the spot? I'm hoping Rice doesn't have a long-term injury. I realise they're different players, but Rice potentially has a long-term injury. He's a really important player to the England squad, so I hope it's not an injury that leaves him out of the Euros. Yeah, Southgate's got a real headache. Especially that right-back spot, by the way. That's another question. Who do you think deserves the right-back spots for England? Because we've got Trent, we've got Trippier, We've got Wan-Bissaka, we've got James, we've got Carl Jenkinson. Anyway, the most transferred out was actually Gareth Bale. Over 320,000 managers have sold Bale heading into this game week. And you can't blame them, to be fair. Bale was very popular. Feels like only a few game weeks ago, Bale was such a popular pick. And it just shows how fast things can change in fantasy football, because he looks like an awful pick right now. Even with the double game week in just a couple of weeks. Gundogan. 250,000 managers have sold Gundogan heading into this game week. There's obviously a question mark about whether he starts versus Leeds. If he starts versus Leeds, he could really punish those that have sold him. I'm one of them. He didn't make the cut on my wildcard draft. I'm surprised to see Rafinha so heavily transferred out, because he's only 5.6 and he's been putting up numbers that, match players worth 3 mil more. So yeah, Rafinha, really good option still. Leeds have 3 tough fixtures, obviously. That's probably why he's being sold, but he's the kind of player that can return in any week. Certainly, Rafinha's coming into my team later in the season because they've got good fixtures for the end of the season. Mikey Man, do you think Trent is worth it? Yes, I do. Absolutely do think Trent's worth it. We saw just now when we were looking at the defensive numbers that Liverpool are up there now in terms of defensive numbers over the last 4 game weeks. And we're talking about England right backs just now. And, Trent's fighting for that spot in that team. Didn't make the last squad. And you could see the look on his face when he picked up the assist against Arsenal. When he whipped in that cross to Jota, you could see what it meant to Trent, picking up that assist. Anyway, let's have a look at the scout selection. As always, we will track this week in, week out. And this is who they've picked for game week 30. 31? Forgot what game week is. Game week 31. Jano says, Gundo, Bamford and Rafinha still surprise me. Like, Gundo to Jota makes sense. Rafinha and Bamford don't really have replacements, in my opinion. I suppose people could be doing Bamford to Iheanacho, possibly. Evan, how are we doing, mate? He says, Son, Lings or Castagna to start. Wow, that's a tough one. I would start, gun to my head, I would start Son. There's a question mark about how Antonio's absence affects West Ham. And Lingard didn't take a single shot after Antonio went off that game. Before that, he was obviously exceptional. Antonio made the run that led to Lingard's goal. So yeah, there's a big question mark about how it affects West Ham, because it's a massive miss. I imagine it'll be Bowen, maybe out of position striker. Jano, quick question. Start Martinez to hedge my Salah bet, or start Areola because he has a better expected return? Good question. I would start... Who have Fulham got? They've got Wolves. I would start Areola. Fulham really desperately need a result against Wolves, so it could be a tight game. I think I'd start Areola. Anyway, this is the scout selection for Game Week 31. They've got Pope in goal, Trent, Digne and Saiss in defence. Interesting. Saiss, a player we talked about. We've talked about Trent. Midfield, they've got Bruno, Mount, Jota and J-Lings. Captain Kane, interesting. Aguero, also interesting. And Iheanacho. What do you guys think of the draft? I would have picked Sterling over Bruno if I was doing the scout selection. Which I'm not, so therefore he's not in it. But Sterling didn't play the last 2 league games or in the Champions League, and Pep said he's going to rotate more than ever for this Leeds fixture, so you would imagine Sterling starts. Dylan, hi Focal, been in Penguin stream, so late to the party. No worries, mate. Yeah, it was good to make a brief cameo on FPL Penguin stream about half an hour ago, just before I went live. I've been saying forever that he's kindly asked me if I'd like to join, and every game week I've not had the opportunity to, and I thought I will just finally do it. So I made a quick cameo on Penguin stream. It was good to make it. And thank you for coming across to this one. Einar says, Focal, who do you reckon about captaining Mahrez as a punt? Mahrez as a punt? No, I'm not sure about that. If I knew he was starting, then yeah, absolutely. But it's a massive question mark about who he starts. I wouldn't be surprised to see a front three of Sterling, Aguero, Ferran Torres, something like that. You know, Mahrez could miss out. So, I don't know about Mahrez as a punt. Anyway, let's crack on. We've got the Goalscorer Odds for Gameweek 31. So Salah is top. 53% chance of a goal. He's listening to what I'm saying. Like, what are you talking about? What? Yeah. Salah's top, mate. 53% chance of a goal. Aguero's 49.5% chance. That's assuming he starts. Kane's 46.5% chance of a goal against United. That's higher than I thought, actually. United have done fairly well against the traditional top six this season. Aubameyang, again, assuming he starts, 46% chance of a goal against Sheffield. Ings, 45% chance. Jesus is there twice. That's amazing. Don't know how he's managed that. Jota, 43.5% chance of a goal. So Salah is actually top, to be fair, for goal scorer odds, according to the bookies, of course. But they're in it to make money, which is why we will look at alternative metrics later on this stream as well. Let's have a look at the clean sheet odds. So Chelsea are top, 49.5% chance of a clean sheet. Arsenal 47% chance, City 45%, Burnley 37.5%. Likewise, Liverpool and Fulham have the same odds. So that should help answer your question as well, Jano. Fulham evidently with better odds than Villa for a clean sheet. So Areola would be who I start in goal for that. Let's have a look at the expected points that I mentioned just now. This is courtesy of FPL Review.com. Really, really good website. Let me just get that on screen. Boom, there we go. So Salah is top for expected points as well, 6.65. Now this is interesting. Sterling is actually second. One thing they do on this site is they let you put in the expected minutes. And this was on something like 60. So I put in 80, just speculating, you know, purely from my opinion that he gets more minutes. So if he gets 80 minutes, then they said he's got 6.3 expected points, which is the second highest for this game week. Aubameyang third, 5.4 expected points. Mane's fourth, 5.4. De Bruyne, again, this is assuming he starts. They've given him 62 expected minutes. I'm not personally convinced that KDB starts, but we'll see. Anyway, back to my wildcard draft while I catch up on chat. This is my draft for anyone that hasn't seen it yet. If anyone hasn't subscribed to the channel, before we proceed any further, hit subscribe. Do it now. Hit like. Lots of familiar names on this stream and lots of new ones, so it'd be good to have you back for future streams if you are new. We've got 31 here right now. Good turnout. Appreciate you all being here. Still loads to get through before we hit that deadline. Dylan's going Watkins to Vardy, Bale to Jota, Bamford to Wood for a -8. Oh, love it. Bale to Jota makes a lot of sense. I'm not sure about selling Bamford for a -4, especially for Wood. Wood's got a good fixture and he's in form, but beyond that, not convinced. Vardy, the thing is, Iheanacho is about half the price and he's been putting up better numbers and he's in more form. But it's a good punt, you know. I still fancy Vardy to do very well over the next 5. Mikey Man, is there a reason you've got Smith Rowe? Is he likely to play? Yeah, in my opinion, he is. As we were talking about at the top of the stream in a news roundup, Odegaard is going to be out for a few games. So that only increases his chances. He could play through the middle. He played last night in the Europa League, played 80-odd minutes. He's really, really important to Arsenal's tactics. There's not any other players that can fill that role as well as him. And I do fancy him to get minutes over the coming game weeks. And for 4.2, you can't really do any better than that. And he's picked up 5 assists in the league this season. So I'm happy to have him on the bench boost in 32. And anyway, before we carry on, I think now would be a good time to do a quick game of Who's That Player? For anyone that's not played before, you'll be shown a cutout of a player, and you have to try and guess who that player is. So here's the first one. Who's that player? I've deliberately tried to make them a bit harder this game week because you guys completely smashed it when we did it back in Game Week 30. So here's the first one. Who is that player? Sponshy, thoughts on a McNeil punt? Not convinced by McNeil. I think I'd probably go for Neto at a similar price. I say that, McNeil, like once per season, does haul. Remember he did it last season in a completely random game week, and it wouldn't surprise me if he does it again. So Dylan's guessed Wood, Aiden's guessed Wood, Adam's guessed Yaya Toure. Monkey Man says he's got no idea. Finn says, damn, it's difficult this week. I finally stumped a couple of you guys. Dylan and Aiden did very well. It was indeed Wood. The man in form, we've been talking about him. That was a tough one. I'm very impressed that Dylan and Aiden got that one. Sponshy got it, it's Wood. Finn says, I hope it's Wood. Yeah, it was Wood. Good guesses, good guesses. Pedro Neto was a good guess, Anton. Likewise, Gundo was. Alright, let's do the next one. Who's that player? While we have a look through these Who's That Player, don't forget to vote on the captain poll on our Discord. We'll have a look at the results of that shortly. I'm interested to see who you guys have got the armband on across the board. So, Adam says it's Maddison. Finn says it's Yotta. Dylan says it's Mount. Oh, we've got some spread guesses for this one. Ollie says it's Aspi. Well, Faint also says it's Aspi. Monkey Man says Regulon. Oh, I finally picked some good ones here. I can confirm that one of you's got it. One of you's got it. Arms behind the back pose. Sponshy says it's Lingard. Aiden says it's Mount or Regulon. So Dylan, Finn, Aiden and Sujit all got it. It was Mason Mount. Another interesting option for the Wildcard. Not seen him talked about a lot, but could do very well. They've got 4 decent fixtures. Let's see if this last one gets the better of you as well. Who's that player? Dylan's absolutely smashing it. He knows there's cutouts when he sees one. Adam says he looks like an egg. He has got a bit of an egghead in this. Yeah, you're dead right. Adam says it's John Joe Shelby. Finn says it's McGoldrick. Dylan says Iheanacho. Sponshy also reckons it's Iheanacho. Ronick agrees. Monkey Man says that's the bald assassin. Jano says John Joe Shelby, Mr. Egghead. Where Faint says it's Nacho. Sujit says it's my man Nacho. Sujit is dead right, as is everyone else who guessed Iheanacho. Another man in form right now. While we've got Monkey Man in the chat, I do want to have a quick look at the FPL Focal Mini League because there has been some movement. Monkey Man has, after a long period of time, been knocked off the top spot He's dropped to second. Yahya has moved up to first. 797th in the world after a 67-point game week. Monkey, have you activated your wildcard? Hello, Penguin. How we doing, mate? I was just saying it's good to make a cameo in your stream earlier. Glad I finally made one, albeit brief. Yeah, so Monkey Man is down to second place, mate. What's the play, Monkey Man? Is the wildcard active? Let's have a look at the captain poll results anyway, while we wait for Monkey Man's moves so that we can copy them. So these are the captain poll results for Gameweek 31. So 33 votes for Salah, followed by 12 for Kane, 10 votes for Jota, 7 votes for KDB. Interesting. Do you guys think KDB plays? I'm not convinced. I think they wrap him up in cotton wool, they give him a hot chocolate, put a blanket around him, give him a bowl of soup, dressing gown on, and they keep him safe for the second leg in the Champions League next week against Dortmund. That's what I think happens. 7 votes for other. If anyone in chat went other, let me know who you've got the armband on. Just 1 vote for Bruno, 1 for Trent. Trent's an interesting one. I like the Trent punt. 6 votes for Gundo, another potential player to be on the bench. So Monkey Man has activated the wildcard. Breaking news. Could regain his top spot in the mini league. We'll continue to track the vocal. You should add a wood section to the captaincy poll. For me and Sponshy. Yeah, sorry, I completely forgot about Wood. Yeah, as I was saying, we'll continue to track the mini league and who is top. Can't offer a monetary prize since I do this channel completely for free, and I'm already well out of pocket from all of these bots running the channels on our Discord. If anyone's not on our Discord, there's a link in the description. Genuinely good FPL resource. We've got things like the price changes, the lineups, the live scores, the bonus points, the stat spot. Stat spot's really cool. You can say info Salah, and then the bot gives you some info about that player. Got the injury updates, game week stats. So you got things like who's the most captained, vice captained, top 10k, insider trading. Really love this channel. Interestingly, last game week, Raul Jimenez transferred himself in. Could we see Jimenez in tonight's squad, or is it too soon? And there's loads more. We've got news, transfer trends, new players, and disaster class. Speaking of which, I thought I had that prepared, but I can't see it here along the top, so maybe I've lost it. In fact, I do have it. I wanted to show you this, guys. I think this is a good thing to show each week who had the disaster class. So this is a manager from Syria. Their name's in Arabic, so I don't know how to pronounce it. Apologies. But in Game Week 29, they were inside the top 10k after 77 points. And then in Game Week 30, 21 points they got. 21 points. Gundogan and Rudiger obviously got 0 pointers. Captain Bamford obviously blanked. Entire defence blanks. Shaw, Konsa, Cresswell. Mendy got the 0 pointer. The only return in their entire team was Bruno. So unlucky. So it's a red arrow for them. Outside the top 10k now to 30k overall. Absolute disaster that. We've all been there. So I think that'd be a good thing to track week in, week out, to help us feel better about our game weeks when we have a red arrow. Howard says you should consider donor links, Patreon, etc. Yeah, Patreon's an interesting idea. I hadn't considered that. On the Discord, there's a bot that lets you donate to get a blue username to support the channel. A couple of people have done that, but you know, I don't mind too much. I enjoy doing this anyway, even if those bots are setting me back 20 quid a month. Monkey Man has sent us his wildcard draft. So immediate thoughts, Steer, you may as well get rid of him for Forster, because Forster's the same price and actually play him. So he's got Mendy, Steer, Rudiger, Trent, Cresswell, Reguilon, Diaz, Smith Rowe, Salah, Bruno, Son, Jota, Iheanacho, Kane, Brewster. Strong team. You've done well to fit in Salah, Bruno, Son and Kane. That's the challenge. And you've also managed to squeeze in Trent. Yeah, I like it. It's a good draft. If let me turn the music down a bit. It's a bit loud. Yeah, if Reguilon plays both games in double 32, then he's a really, really strong option. So it's a good draft. I like it. Brewster, obviously, at best, you're hoping for a one-pointer, but you'll be hoping not to call on him anyway. Besides that, it's a good draft. Rudiger, I like. Diaz, could be the first game week Diaz gets a benching. I hate to jinx it. But they've got a really, really important second leg in the Champions League next week, so we'll see. But Diaz is a good option long term, as is Jota. To be honest, my draft's relatively similar. It's a good draft. Janet says, "Be right back, copy your monkey." Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone you want to copy, it's him. He's having an outrageous season. We are about 10 minutes till the deadline. Don't forget to like the video if you have liked the stream so far. As always, once the stream has finished, I will add the timestamps to the video. And I'll be on the Discord throughout this game week. The party carries on over there. Sad news, Prince Philip passed away today. There was some question marks about whether there's a national mourning. Whether the game week gets postponed. I believe the Premier League actually posted about it. They said they're deeply saddened to hear of the passing of His Royal Highness Prince Philip. Thoughts and condolences. And they said, as a mark of respect, players will wear black armbands and there will be a minute's silence before the kickoff at all the Premier League matches played tonight and across the weekend for this game week. Sad news. 99 years old he was. Not a bad age to live to though, right? Hope I can live to 99. Kitty says Davies is injured, so I guess Reguilon is nailed. Yeah, so Davies is out injured, so Reguilon looks pretty safe. I mean, we've seen some crazy lineups, like actually he doesn't even play for them anymore. I was going to say Vertonghen at left back, but he doesn't even play for them anymore. Yeah, I think he's pretty safe, to be honest. I'm just checking when Davies is expected back. So the last update was on the 2nd, and Mourinho said Ben got an injury in Croatia and then aggravated it in Game Week 29. He hasn't recovered yet, not even close to it. Ben Krelin's speculated a potential return of the 21st of April, which I think is the second game of their double. So, yeah. Reguilon looks like a pretty safe pick. We've seen this season and seasons in the past that defenders actually end up scoring the highest across all players in the double game week. So Kane's going to be the most heavily captained for 32. And I would not recommend going into 32 without him. I think you want to have Son as well because we've seen what Son can do this season despite dropping off the boil a little bit in recent game weeks. But yeah, Reguilon is a very strong option as well on defence, left back. Beyond him, it's difficult to pin down a third. I actually had Lloris in quite a few of my wildcard drafts, but the problem with Lloris is that blank in 33, so I ended up having to get Sanchez as well. So you end up spending 10 mil just on your keepers. Sanchez has been getting some minutes in centre-back, but again, they've got a few options there. Rodon, I forget his name now, the other one. Alderweireld, that's it, and Rodon. So they've got a few options in centre back. Hopefully you can still hear me. He's blocking the mic. Mark Dearlove, Aubameyang captain. He's not a bad punt, but it's difficult to say whether he starts or not because he's not been great recently. He came off the bench last night in the Europa League, picked up an assist, which is good. But it's hard to say how Arsenal line up against Sheffield. Could be both Aubameyang and Lacazette, but it could be just Lacazette. Anton says, just subscribe. Love the stream so far. I'm on a wildcard, pretty settled, but now tempted by Reece James. So Rudiger plus Shaw versus James and Cody. I prefer Rudiger plus Shaw. Not by much. As we were talking about at the top of the stream, Shaw came off at half-time last night in the Europa League. Solskjaer said he was protecting him. So, and Solskjaer added, I hope he'll be okay for the weekend. Shaw's a good option though. Obviously, he's been a very, very good pick for, I think he's 5.3. So I think I prefer Shaw. Obviously, Rudiger played a lot of football, so he missed out in Gameweek 30 against West Brom, and they conceded 5, obviously. So I think Zuma is the one on the chopping block there. If anyone wants me to rate their team or give any feedback, just chuck your teams or questions in the chat. We've got about 5 minutes till the deadline. So I think at this point I have just about made it through all the content I've prepared. So I think a Q&A would be a nice way to do the last 5. Any questions you've got at all, chuck them in the chat and I will answer them. For anyone that missed my team for this game week, I've activated the wildcard. This is my wildcard draft. I'm going to be bench boosting in 32 if all goes well. And I've still got the free hit as well, so I will probably free hit in 35 or 36. We don't know exactly what's going to happen in those game weeks yet. This is one of the potential game week 35 ramifications, because they're going to be moving the Premier League back a week to allow every team to play a home game with fans. And Ben Krelin's basically speculated one of the possible outcomes of that if all of the favourites in the FA Cup progress to the final. And it's purely speculation at this point, but you can see here there's a potential big double game week in 35 and a blank in 36. So the likes of City, Leicester, Chelsea could all double in 35 and blank in 36. So we won't find out until at some point between 32 and 34. But it is something, of course, we'll track closely, because if you're on top of it, then it's certainly an opportunity to get ahead of the curve. Anyway, the questions. Start Iheanacho over Son or Maddison? I would bench Maddison, if that's what you mean. Question from Jano. Favourite takeout food? It depends on what mood I'm in. I love a Domino's, but it's so unhealthy. And I've gained like half a stone during lockdown, so I'm trying to avoid Domino's. I like a peri peri. I don't know if that's a thing that's all over the UK, but we've got peri peri chicken. Like I guess it's just basically like Nando's, but there's one around here called peri peri, and they do exactly the same food. They give you more, and it's cheaper, and as tasty. Stuart says Captain Hayes is too risky, trying to make up a big gap in the mini league. Not too risky. He didn't even appear in the Champions League. They played midweek. He didn't appear in that game, so I think he could stand a chance of starting. Not the worst punt. Could be a high-scoring game. Not too risky. Go for it if you're trying to make up ground. Monkey Man, with 4 minutes to the deadline, says, I'm now considering to swap Cresswell with Cody, for example, then sell Reguilon after 32 and Cresswell in. I lose some value in Cresswell, but might make more points. Difficult one to say that. I mean, if we're honest, Wolves haven't looked good defensively, whereas West Ham have, and Cresswell's got the attacking threat, so I think I would keep hold of Cresswell. There's every chance, even if they do lose their clean sheet, he whips in a cross that Souček headers in. So just thinking on the spot, I probably wouldn't do it. Exiled Chaz, how we doing, mate? It says very similar, but he's going Aspi and Leno. Yeah, I think it's sensible to jump on Chelsea defence. I've doubled up, so I'm hoping for a clean sheet against Crystal Palace. Aspi's a very good option as well. He seems completely nailed in that defence. Guy, how we doing, mate? He says bench Cody or Castagna. That's a tough one. I'd probably bench Cody. Yeah, Cody. Tough one between them. What were the clean sheet odds? Let's just have a quick look at that. So Wolves, I keep saying West Brom. Wolves had a 31.5% chance. West Ham 27. Sorry, Leicester 29. So there's not much in it, but Castagna's got the attacking threat, so I would start Castagna. I remember early this season, Castagna looked like an essential pick at one point. He was just so consistently returning. Cheers, Mikey man. Good luck. Thanks for tuning in. Spongy, bench Diaz or Digne? Digne. There's every chance Digne comes off the bench anyway, but I'd bench Digne. Chaz, start Vidra or Iheanacho? That's a tough one. I'd start Iheanacho. I mean, there's a little bit of a chance that Iheanacho loses his spot with Maddison returning to the side, but I'm hoping it doesn't happen because he's in great form and he's scoring while Vardy's not. You know, he's in some of the best form in the league right now. He didn't make the cut in the top 3 captains video earlier this week that I posted. I think that was on Wednesday I posted that. Thanks for all the new subscribers that have come in this stream. If anyone's not subscribed, don't forget to hit subscribe to catch all the future videos and streams. We try to cover a lot every game week, like the Bookies Odds, you know, the news roundup, the scout picks, the transfers in and out, expected points. Arif says start Holding or Shaw. Holding. EJT, how we doing, mate? Start 2 of Holding, Cody, Lingard, Neto. Neto and Lingard. Dylan says captain is KDB with Wood as vice. Love it. I mean, Wood as vice though. Like I said, I don't know if De Bruyne does play this game week. They might want to protect him for the Champions League. Interesting stat for you guys. I noticed that Masuaku, he got injured back in game week 11, so he hasn't played since then. But over those 11 game weeks, he was second among all defenders for expected goal involvement. Second. First was Trent, fair enough, but he was second, and he's only 4.3. And he returned from injury, or his first game back from injury, was in 30. He got subbed off at the 66th minute, which is fair enough. He's only just returned, but he got an assist in that time. 4.3 costs. Could be an interesting option. We're past the deadline now. I think that's it. But they got Newcastle in 32. So Masuaku could be an interesting option. Einar says Yola, Captain Mahrez. Wow, good luck, Einar. Hope he starts. Yeah, I mean, that Man City Leeds game looks like it could be a very high scoring one, I would think. Pep's going to rotate heavily. He's told us that himself. So we could see, you know, Jesus, Aguero, Sterling starting. Difficult to say who starts, but you can see it being a high-scoring game. Sorry I didn't get to catch your team before the deadline, Dylan. Let's have a look on Twitter. Is this the right one? I'll have a quick look at Dylan's team just to see how he's lined up for this game week. So the armband was on KDB, said Dylan. Is this a wildcard draft? No. McCarthy? I guess you're just hoping for the best there. I don't know if McCarthy will play. Forster's probably going to start. Might get Martinez off your bench. Diaz, KDB, captain, Wood, Vice. Yeah, decent team. Decent team. I mean, I'm not sure about the Wood, Vice, if I'm totally honest. If it was me, I would not have done that. But he's the man in form, so, you know, let's see. 3 goals and an assist in his last 3 appearances. Exiled Chaz says, all done. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, thanks for tuning in. West Ham fan, I see, Adam says. Anna says, whenever City roll over someone, it just feels like Mahrez goes off every time. Yeah, I agree. Mahrez is a difficult player to pin down. He goes through these streaks of absolutely flying, you know, the highest scoring among the City mids. But it's very difficult to catch him at the right time. A lot of people got him earlier in the season at the wrong time and were burned by him. I personally avoided him just because, you know, it's so hard to predict. And likewise, I've got no City on the wildcard draft here because it's going to be hard to predict what they do in the coming game weeks. I mean, if we just take a very quick look here at Man City's fixtures. So this is Man City's upcoming fixtures. They've got Leeds tomorrow, but then they've got Dortmund away on Wednesday. And then they've got Chelsea in the FA Cup semi-finals. So 2 games before we even get to Game Week 32. 2 massive games, remember. Chelsea away in the FA Cup semi-final. And then 4 days later, they play Aston Villa. And then they've got the League Cup final in between 32 and 33. Well, they blank on 33, obviously, because they play Spurs in the League Cup final. So they got some really, really important games in the coming game weeks. And then they've got Palace. You know, there are some good fixtures. And then they've got Chelsea. So, I mean, no one can say who's going to be getting minutes over that period. And I think the answer is everyone. They'll all be rotated. Anyway, we are past the deadline. We made it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video before you leave if you have liked it. And subscribe to the channel before you go if you're not subscribed. Hope to catch you all on the future streams and FPL videos. Really appreciate your being here. Good luck this game week. Fingers crossed my wildcard goes well. Hopefully I'll be in good spirits in the post Game Week 31 stream. But for now, guys, it's goodbye from me and good luck.